Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm Cody. He is Andy, the chart wizard. Together with Paige, we make up the Tech Talk trio. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Looks a little dark in that home. You good?
It is dark. Well, we got the weather's making its changes, Like we were just talking, Paige and I were just talking, we outnumber you in terms of people that get headaches when the pressure comes in. It's like,
Barometric
pressure. I got to get like one of those little things that like
start calling you Al Roker here pretty soon.
I got to tell you, like the weathermen, they don't have to be right. And they just keep coming, like people just keep coming back for more and more and more.
I've always said that one job in this world where you just don't get fired and you're never right is being a weatherman.
Being a weatherman. It's going to snow tomorrow. Well, really, it's June. Well, whatever. How about that?
Perfect. What are you going to
do? We'll see you for the show. Same show tomorrow. Weather.
Same time. Same
whether
day.
You like it or not. How about that?
Got him.
Well, pun. Paige is just like editing that one out.
All right. So we had no one.
Well, we kind of had a request.
We had a request.
We had a request. We had one. We're going to call it one.
We'll take one.
So this isn't the one, but we've definitely, this is one that has been obviously talked about quite a bit lately on spot sheets. And I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
So we didn't touch anything. And what's interesting is we got right to this downtrend that we talked about last time. Tried to get through it. I mean, if you really look, look at that bad boy. And that was when the barrel basically went and traded $1.90 and then promptly came back down. Went to this downtrend, failed, and then gapped lower on Monday. Today's Wednesday, right? All day today? Yeah, Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday morning.
So now it's, we talked about filling this gap, which, what is this, 179? You're talking about another 2 cents-ish just to fill that. We were there yesterday, intraday, and then came back to unchanged, basically.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess my expectation hasn't changed here. Like, I expect this gap to get filled. I would be really wary of a higher low, right? Unless there's some crazy thing that happens or some sort of new news or a tweet away, I guess. Who knows? But for now, like I don't really have anything to change here. Mm-hmm. It's just, especially since we went right here. Now, I guess conversely, if we can't even fill this gap and we go back and close above this downtrend, then I think it's a straight shot right here.
190. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a straight shot there because that's, think about it. We always talk about here's this move, started at 158 on average. Maybe it ended at 184. We'll see. But it's a big move. That's basically the entire year's worth of range, right?
Right.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So to see little to no retracement out of that and then go retest that high, that would be pretty bullish.
What do you think happens first? A test of 170 or 190?
I guess is 170.
Agreed. I agree.
And so we still have that kind of drawn right here.
Yep.
Right. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. I think that the next, what we'll see is a higher low. So we don't get back down to the low 160s or, high 150s or something like that. It's, we get down to 170, 168 and people start owning it again.
Right.
Futures are certainly saying that's the case, right? With cheese futures, July, basically $1.90 at this point, Q3, a little over 190, 191. So the futures market's telling us cheese is really valued somewhere up here.
Right.
So
that's the interesting thing is we're not going to be able to look at this chart for very much longer with the federal milk marketing order changes in June. So this one's going to go away and we'll be primarily looking at the block essentially.
We will be looking at the block. The barrel will still be traded, in my understanding, on the exchange, but the Class 3 futures contract will be, the cheese portion of that formula will be
the block.
Yeah. So we'll be looking at the block, but it's the only thing that's constant in this life, Cody.
Death and taxes.
I was going to say change, but you seem to want to be a little bit more negative about it. So
a little morbid on this Wednesday morning.
Yeah, you're I'm a morbid Wednesday over here. It's hump day, man. Whenever I drop my kid out to school in the morning on Wednesdays, there's a dude and he always the vice principal, and he has a camel hat. It's a big camel. And he walks around with Mike. I don't know if you remember that commercial. But,
dude, one of the greatest commercials.
Yeah, he always does that stuff. And I always get a kick out of it. My kid, he says no idea what he's talking about. That's okay. I'm dead. So anyways, we'll see. I think they got to fill this gap. It's not that much. It's another 2 sets. And then we'll see if they can get it down here. But I definitely think if they do break it, it's a higher low that we're looking at. Unless, again,
We're one tweet
Something.
away.
Sure. Something happens. Who
Yeah.
knows? So next one, this one came at request from Matt internally.
Shout out to
Even though
Matt.
even though it says, hey, Zach, it really should say, hey, Matt.
It was a Zach chart. Now it's a Matt chart.
Well, it's a both chart. We're going to go with both. How about that?
There you
So
go.
let's do this. Let's widen it out a little bit. The question was, are we about to see a triple top in September fears? What do you think?
Well, from when I started many, many, many years ago, you've always said that there is no such thing as a triple top. So I'm going to say no.
Well, what's interesting about this is you had this big uptrend that really, like, it got tested one time right here, close through it promptly, like, nope. And since then, it's just been a nice grind back to these highs. And this is just like the chart that just keeps punishing the shorts.
Yeah. Keeps you on your toes every day.
Punishes the shorts. Anytime anybody tries to get short this market,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about all-time record highs.
Yeah.
For these contracts. And so trying to pick a top here, like, to me, it's like when I see this type of activity, I don't want to sell that.
No.
You know, it's a tough ask to want to sell that right now. So what is this? Yeah. I mean, so that's that high from that day is 293.25. If you close above that high and then open then higher the next day, even by a smidge, it could just be, I mean, it could turn into a face ripper.
Right.
Like you could end up seeing a candle like this.
Yeah. Well, that's why, I mean, if you were short for a while there, you were pretty right. I mean, literally for a week, but after that, the bulls came back in and just took it over day after day.
Anytime this market shows any kind of weakness, which is just such a phenomenal sound, like, you know, strength, right? And you look at some of the secondary stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this momentum here when it's higher, right? And then this is the attempt to break through it. And it's just like, it's like peanuts, man. This is nothing. And then now it's back to being higher and it's crossed over all this stuff. So the momentum is definitely I'd say very positive. The money flow clearly broke out from this downtrend and is now just grinding higher. That looks good. And there's plenty of room here for it to, before it gets into overbought territory.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I think you're going to go test this high. If you fail up against it, probably get another test of this uptrend. But to me, like if you really want to talk about getting really short this market, I think you have to break these big uptrends. Right. And I think you could probably even extend this bad boy.
We almost
even
tested that high today. We're about $1 away.
I prefer this one only because you had like this move right here.
Right.
But still, like, this is a major uptrend. It feels like you're going to go test this former high. If you close through it, especially with all this, it could get dicey. I mean, you would be leaving a lot of selling behind, right? Anybody that was short from basically the entire month of April is now almost underwater. Not quite, but almost underwater.
Right.
So any selling that took place basically here and on, they're out money. And that's such a powerful, like, technical thing when you think about it, right? Like, and then you close into new highs, that just really forces the issue. Yeah, this one's nasty. I mean, this one, I think you got to be super careful of a close into new highs, and then it's just, you get a candle like this.
Now, I was watching this move daily as the past couple times we've opened higher, get towards noon, we kind of come off the highs a little bit, but then in the afternoon towards the close, it just keeps on ripping. Just keeps on going.
How much meat are you guys every just? I mean, it's just like you're just crushing burgers like every day. Like,
well, I think we're talking about it
steaks,
internally.
Burgers and
yeah, I mean, with more people eating at home right now, I think Phil had mentioned it, that steak and burger is not off the table for people to buy. It's probably a pretty good staple in the diet at this point for most folks.
Yeah, for sure. And things like shredded cheese too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a nice source of protein right there. All right, last one, but certainly not least. I swear, every day it's got like 100-point move. This is the S&P 500. And you think about, like, so where is it right now? It's up 165 points right now. And let's do the math on that real fast. 165 times 50 times 50 is $8,250 a contract. So if you divide that by 20, you get $4.12 a hundredweight equivalent is what the S&P 500 has moved here today. Imagine waking up and milk is from trading, $18. You wake up, it's at 22. That's the equivalent move.
That's crazy.
It is nuts. And but I mean, look at these candles. They're just I mean, these, it's hard to appreciate, like, when you just look at it from like this standpoint. This day is this day is massive. But this day, oh my gosh.
Up 9.5%.
Good night. So this is what comes to mind when I see this right here, right? Higher low, looks like a W, and you're gapping away from it too, right here. So you're about to bump up against right here. Bumping up against that and then closing above that, especially after putting a higher low and then gapping away from it, that's a sign of strength. I mean, it's no two ways about it. That is definitely a sign of strength, right? And you have this downtrend that's been established.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say this is probably, in terms of like, technically speaking, probably one of the best chances this has of breaking out of it. High low, gapping away from it. Now you're up against it again. You got some potential to move here. Momentum still is lower, but it's also put in a higher low. Right here. And then money flow is starting to actually show us that more money is piling in from longs than shorts, right? Or I should say, more money's piling in on up days than days that were lower. So, yeah, this could get sneaky too. I mean, there's room for this thing to rally for sure. I think the big question is, like, does it close above this horizontal line here that it's been bumping up against, basically 5,500? And then does it do that plus at the same time close above this downtrend? It could make it kind of spicy. Buying stocks.
I mean, at this point, that seems to be the place to put your money.
Go buy.
I'd rather see that gap filled first, just so we don't have to go back and find it at a later date, because that will create more volatility and madness. But
I remember somebody told us that gaps are unfinished business in a market. They are unfinished business. So I agree. That would be, well, actually, no, I'll take that back. I don't know how much I agree with that. If we're going to get, like, I think if we're going to get a nice run higher here, I think I'd rather see that be what's called a breakaway gap. So breakaway gaps occur at the beginning of a new trend. And they're a lot of times the signal of an end and then the beginning of a new one. And you're breaking away from the current, like, move, in this case, lower. Just
saying, at that point, the gap does not have to come back.
Correct. If it's a true breakaway gap, you would look for them not to be filled.
Any on the monthly? No.
You want to take a peek ski at the monthly?
Oof. Well, look at that. Holy cow.
Yeah. We were talking about it before. I like all the different, like, fund management stuff that's coming out, where it's like, don't look. Everything will be okay. Don't look at your stuff.
Don't look at it.
It's good advice. Just don't look at it.
Just don't take a peek.
Just don't do that. So, but yeah, daily, I'm going to disagree with you. I think it would be better for this gap not to be filled if you're looking for this market to rally.
Okay.
So that's just my 2 cents on it, but we shall see.
Strong like bull.
Just like milk, or 1 tweet away.
We are 1 tweet away.
So
happened this morning. It literally happened this morning.
It did happen this morning. How about that?
Here we are, up 165 points.
I got to tell you, like, I got to get my Twitter followers up. Well, first of all, I need to get a Twitter account, and then I need to start tweeting stuff and get my followers up, so I can, like, step in and be like, look, Cody's calling for a gap and go Sparrow's tail. So, like, and then the market's up 200 points. I gotta work on that. I'll work on that this year. How's that
work on it?
That's all we got.
Awesome. All right. Well, as usual, appreciate your expertise on these charts. Matt, thanks for writing in, asking about feeder cattle. If anyone has any charts they want to look at for next week, please let us know, and we'll be happy to take a look at them. But until then, that's going to do it for the Tech Talk Trio. We hope you guys have a great week. An even better weekend. Supposed to be 80 degrees on Monday, and we're super excited.
Bring your sunscreen.
No more snow. I'm pumped, man.
Well, don't say that. Come on.
Knock on wood. No. Check that barometric thing you got going on there.
Check your barometric pressure, because, like, now we're getting snow because Cody said it.
July 7th, snow.